evening and welcome to the Uprising. I'm unapologetically Josh and you are on Straight Independent Radio and 97.1 FM in Waterloo, Iowa. Today is Tuesday, March the 10th, 2020. We are keeping up with our 2020 vision of nothing but Black excellence here at the Uprising. I'm joined this evening by my very special and talented guest, none other, the one and only Tammy Reese from Visionary Minds. For those of you who are joining us online and our 14,000 subscribers at Straight Independent Radio, we appreciate you for joining us, and thank you to all of our live audience watching on Facebook. Tammy Reese.
Hey, thank you so much for having me, Josh. I'm on the Uprising, y'all. Yes.
In the studio. Tammy, I am just trying to pull up your bio so that I can introduce you properly and formally. But I can tell you that she and I have been friends for quite some time. The ups, the downs, the ins, the outs.
Yes.
But I'm so glad and humbled, actually, to have you here live in the studio and sitting to my right hands.
Yes, I'm excited to be here. I was having flashbacks of when you were on my show, interviewing you on the Survivor show, of how inspirational you are to the community, to me, the advocacy work that you do. You are just amazing, and I'm so proud of you. It's such a great honor to be here.
Well, thank you so much. Why don't you take a minute to talk about your series that I was on, if you don't mind, while this loads up for us.
Yes, well, the series that Josh and I are talking about was the Visionary Minds Survivor show, where I had him talk about everything that he's going through, what he advocates in the community. You know, he's the HIV awareness advocate. We're so proud of him with that. We got to interview a guest who had PTSD, my mother who had was blind, also Michelle DiBernardo, mom Charlene, who had cancer, and both of our moms passed away in January. That show was just so special, and we gifted everyone, kind of like Oprah, you get a gift and you get a gift. We gave everyone tons of gifts, a lot of tears shed, a lot of inspiration, a story and a message to keep pushing through no matter what you're going through, and I'm so glad Josh was on that show. It was so special to all of us.
Thank you so much for having me. It was actually through a conversation that I had with your mom, the late Donna Reese, who inspired me to actually stop talking about the uprising and make it a thing. And so a lot of people wondered, where did I come up with this concept about Black excellence? And I believe it was Ms. Donna Reese who actually spoke those terms into my life.
She loved you, and she definitely got a kick out of you, and just loved how talented you were, how vocal you were in the community. She always said that you definitely are and will continue being a powerhouse. You definitely have a great legacy to fulfill, and I definitely agree. I'm glad that you and I, her, and Lakeisha got time to spend together this summer at the fair, American Village. That was so much fun. Mom really loved you. She really, really did.
Well, she will greatly be missed. For those of you that don't know, Donna Reese was quite an advocate. I'm trying to get this to load up. We're having all kinds of technical difficulties.
It's okay. I'm glad to explain about myself. No one can really explain you better than you sometimes. Well, to those who do not know me, my name is Tammy Reese. I'm located in upstate New York, Hughestown. I'm the founder of Visionary Minds, Public Relations and Media. We promote events, talents, and businesses. If you don't have time to contact press, you'll contact us. If you don't have time to promote your event, you'll contact us. If you don't have time to book a videographer or photographer, you'll contact us. Don't do all the work when you can have a PR team that's handle it for you. I'm also co-publisher and editor of Central New York Woman Online magazine. We have great advertising packages. You can contact me and email me at tammycnywoman@gmail.com. Entrepreneurs, it's Women's History Month. Get your businesses and events featured. I'm glad to help.
So that was actually one of the reasons why I felt it appropriate to have you on the show tonight, for not only all of the work that you do in the community, but it is in fact Women's History Month. So it is always great as a black man to have a strong black woman to my right. They say behind every man is a woman. And Tammy Reese happens to be one of the many women behind the man, the myth, the legend, Unapologetically Josh. So I appreciate you for, setting a tone and setting an example. So let's kind of get into that. Our show tonight and our topic tonight, we're on season 2, episode 21. We're cruising through this season. We're almost wrapping up. Next week, we have Roger Miso. Last week, we had Dana Balter. They're both running for Congress in New York for the 24th Congressional District. Hoping to still have Francis Cannoli on here. And word has it in the streets that there is a fourth dark horse candidate who is running on an amazing progressive platform. Wow. And I hope to get him on the show also. So
awesome.
The idea and the direction in which we're going right now is to focus on politics. Last week's topic was politics is local. This week's topic is your vote does matter. And one of the people who really got me into thinking about that concept was in fact you. So I want to know from you, take a minute to talk about why voter engagement is so important and what that means for you.
It is so important. Our people died for the right to vote. We were once considered 3/5 of a human being. We once was not even allowed to vote by law. A lot of people really, literally fought and died for us to have the right to vote. It's our duty. It's free to do. It takes a couple minutes to walk into a building where your polling registration place is and pick whoever. I definitely would advise people to do their research. Whatever party you're affiliated with, vote with morals. Vote with, the importance of it in your heart. It's important to vote for your mayors, your senators, your governors, your common council people, your school board, and definitely a president. It goes from the bottom all the way up to the top. I'm so engaged in this presidential election. We have the chance to truly make history, and I don't want to put my views onto anyone. I can only speak for myself.
Right.
I think as a woman, as a black person, as someone just in this decade, we have to get this man out of office. It is so vital, morally. If you care about women's rights, if you care about people not being racist, if you care about people standing up for, gay rights, if you care about women being able to have to say over their own bodies, it's imperative for us to vote. New York State, we have the primary in April, we have the general election in November. I don't care who you vote for, just go vote. I know I'm voting. I hope you join me and do it so too.
Absolutely. Just a quick correction. The primary in New York happens in June. The primary for New York's presidential race happens in April. And so, the point and purpose of this particular episode is not only to tide us over until we get one of the candidates sitting here, is really to explore what does it really mean to be an active citizen and an active participant, in the process of politics. And so in preparing for this show, I was looking for guests who were not as engaged as most people. So first, before we really dig into that, why do you feel like people might not be engaged in the process?
I think some people don't care. They feel, I'm good, I got a job, I'm living life grand, this doesn't affect me. If it's a law that doesn't affect them, or, economic policy, if it's a man who is not a woman, it may not matter if a woman has an abortion or not, something doesn't directly affect some people. Some people don't pay attention to the news. Some people feel their vote doesn't matter. They may feel it's rigged. It's already set up. What's the point for me wasting my day to go vote and I can go be doing something else? But overall, I really think a lot of people don't care or aren't informed. There's way bigger news besides getting your news on Facebook. And no shade of any outlets. There's so many different ways to get your news. You have to be informed. You have to be engaged. It's important. If it's your race or your city or not, you should know what's going on besides in your own bubble. There's a whole world out there with issues and things we need to advocate and get the word out about. So, and share the information with people who may know, your family, your friends, colleagues, whatever. Hey, did you hear about this? Hey, did you know this election's coming up? Hey, did you hear about this person who's running for office? It's up for us to do our, duty and share that information because it's important. And if you know it's important to you, you never know who else it's important to once they have that correct information.
Right. So talk to me about like when you first began to be engaged and do your own research. I know you had mentioned do your research, right? And so when did you first become intentional in seeking out the information that mattered to you the most?
Well, I always was engaged into politics growing up in the house with my mom. Was always, an advocate in the community, meeting with politicians all over the country, presidents. And I was young at that time when she really first started, taking in the streets and doing advocacy work. As I got older and was old enough to vote, I really started, listening to her what she had to say and also researching on my own. So it wasn't just that my mom was my influence. I'm like, wow, this is really real. I need to really pay attention to this. And I couldn't wait to be able to vote. I hope these young people now in 2020 who are just turning 18 and old enough to vote are excited to go to those polls. But growing up in a house where people were always engaged, I always had the news channels on with politics. I'm like, what's going on? And wow, when Obama became president, I couldn't take my eyes off the TV. I couldn't wait till he came on TV and talked,
We spoke about that last week, and one of the things that I said, I'm rather a little bit embarrassed to admit it today, as considering as engaged as I am in the process now. But back then, I kind of was willy-nilly, right? The first time in my life that I ever voted was for Barack Obama. And a lot of the motivation behind that was the representation component and the fact that I felt that this man looked like me. One conversation that sprung about through social media, which is incidentally one of the places where a lot of people gather information. And so when you spoke about there's multiple sources, social media has taken on this presence that serves as a platform for people to gather information.
It's quick. We're in a digital era.
So absolutely. I wanted to hear your thoughts on the platform of social media and how that does impact the information that people are receiving.
I believe the 50-50 is definitely good and bad because as we know with previous elections, bad information gets out. This big saying, fake news, and you get it quick in a hurry on social media. As back then, internet wasn't thought of, or at least social media wasn't thought of. And everyone's putting out their own opinions. And even if it's meant to influence another to think like you or just wanting to put out your opinion, because we all have the freedom of speech. We can say what we want, when we want, how we want it. If someone agrees or not, you can easily make a post on Twitter, Facebook, whatever platform that you use, and your opinion is out there. But a lot of the information from individuals, agencies, media can be biased. That's why I think it's so important for us to think for ourselves. It's okay to engage, talk with other individuals, with agencies, whatever, talk to the candidates who's running, people who's, backing them. But just think for yourself, because once you, fill out that ballot and make that vote, that's it. There's no going back. So just make sure you're informed correctly and you're voting with your heart.
I definitely hear that. One of the other things that I wanted to touch upon now that the technology is starting to work, I hope. Okay, great. So now everything's working. For those of you who are just joining us, I'm Unapologetically Josh. This is The Uprising. I'm joined this evening by Tammy Reese, founder of Visionary Minds, Public Relations and Media. Tammy Reese is a Central New York award-winning actress and writer, a 2018 Central New York 40 Under 40 nominee and awardee, 2019 WCNY Makers Women Who Make America Award honoree, and was honored with the 40 Across 40 Award in 2019. She's the co-publisher and editor of Central New York Women's Online Magazine and graduated from Empire State College in 2008, majoring in media studies including journalism, television, film, blogging, and radio production while minoring in theater and culture. Tammy Reese.
Hey,
So I always like to be sure that I give a proper and formal introduction.
thank you.
So you got your start on stage. At what point did that kind of lead you back toward the community?
Wow, it actually was hand in hand. Those who are familiar with the media unit, TV and Stage Production Company, which actually, closed last year. The director, Walt Shepard, retired gracefully. I was a part of that company as a youth for many, many years, and all the plays that we did was on social issues. Racism, HIV awareness, bullying, sexual assault, domestic violence, the list goes on. So that instilled me. It was bigger than doing a musical or performing, though acting was my first love on stage. It was the messages. As a young teen, we're bringing awareness to social issues through the arts. And that transpired me to later produce my own PSAs on domestic violence, suicide, bullying, sexual assault. The list goes on there. And having a mother who was, the president of NAACP and so engaged in the community, it was like I was just under her wing. And being that the media unit instilled that in me, I just love to be vocal and spread awareness of social issues. I just love it. As time went on, I got into filmmaking. Last year, I just co-produced and wrote a film called Betrayal, which was showcased in London. I co-produced that with Michelle DiBernardo and Zach Jackson. I'm really excited about that, to keep that on the film festival circuit. Produced some commercials that was on Channel 9 last year as well. So I love it all, from acting to writing, directing, journalism. It's all instilled in me. And it's ironic because some people are like, you don't think you do too much? I'm like, hey, Oprah could be a business woman, a host, the actress, the producer. Why can't I do that too?
Why can't you?
But yeah, I literally love it all. I love it all. Everything, theater, film, media, it's all embedded in me.
So I want to touch upon one of the public service announcements that you produced. It was revolving around HIV and AIDS. I believe it starred Belia Jackson.
Oh no, that one was not me, but hers was amazing.
Got it.
Hers was absolutely amazing.
Got it. So I'm gonna have to get the fact check.
But I had produced 3 HIV awareness commercials last year. That was with Michelle. No, that was with Zach as well. That was for Syracuse Community Connections.
Right.
Their Faces and HIPS program. We also did the billboard that you were on. That was an amazing project to be a part of. But yeah, because Southwest has great HIV awareness programs, and I was honored to be able to co-produce the commercial for them. Those 3 commercials, which aired on Channel 9, and then the billboard you were on was on Till Ave. For many weeks. It was a beautiful, beautiful billboard. Definitely was a great movement to continue bringing awareness within our community.
So I'm curious to know, with Visionary Minds, public relations and media, it seems like you tend to lean more towards the community side versus being more focused on building a client base around money, right? I noticed that you've done a lot of work with nonprofits, individuals, small initiatives. Why the draw there?
Well, actually it is 50-50 because I have a lot of clients afar. I have clients in Michigan, LA, New Jersey, DC, that I write for. I produce their events. I promote their events. I actually produced an event in Toronto that sold out I promoted an event during the Sundance Film Festival that sold out. So that was under the Visionary Minds umbrella, under the PR side. With the community, I love just showcasing positivity. If it's, putting women in a newspaper or a magazine or on a TV show, as we did the Inspirational Women at Syracuse Visionary Mind Show, the Inspirational Men of Color, which I originally wanted you on, but everything happened for a reason that you were on the Survivor Show. We actually did a film documentary. All these shows aired on Spectrum Cable. I'm so selfless that it's bigger than me. That even with all my skills, talents, accolades, I can just focus on myself, but it's bigger than me. I feel there's so many people with talent and doing great things that needs to be showcased. And if I can do any little bit to, put someone else on, get someone an opportunity, showcase what they're doing, I feel I've done something. I feel that's a huge part of my legacy. And Visionary Minds actually started as a Facebook blog, just showcasing people, featuring on Facebook. I'm like, hey, let me create a TV show. Hey, let me turn this into a company. One step at a time, but I'm all for community. I'm all for it.
No, I see that, as I said, I've fashioned, I feel like I've drawn a lot of inspiration and motivation and encouragement and support from you, from your family in terms of where I am today, now being broadcast to 14,000 subscribers and listeners in cities I've never even been in, right?
So proud of you.
So it's interesting that you do so much afar, but really keep your feet rooted here at home. And I think that that's genuinely important. We were talking about that in the car on the way here, in terms of why is it that someone such as yourself or myself can draw such an audience from afar and at the same time be very, very rooted in our own backyards?
Yes, and I get that question a lot because I don't want to ever forget where I came from. Still in Syracuse, loving it, like everyone else, trying to live day by day, follow their dreams. I do get a lot of opportunities outside of Syracuse. Under the Visionary Minds name, I was able to cover amazing industry events and interview tons of celebrities. But there's nothing like being home and in your grassroots, knowing that you put even a little bit of mark on your community to help it out at some point, because I need that support from my community too. So why not give back?
Oh, wonderful. Why not give back? So when we're talking about, your vote matters, you spoke about people needing to do their research, right? What are some of the issues for you right now that really are on the top of your agenda in terms of you being able to figure out who you want to vote for?
I'm all about ending racism. Equality that's probably my top social issue. When I was in the media unit, we did a play from the back of the bus, and one of the lines in the show that I'll never forget, it was our ancestors died for the rights to vote, but now we don't vote until Obama came. And our ancestors died so we wouldn't have to sit at the back of the bus, but now we think it's cool. Even though we have the right to sit where we want, it's just the thought of that black people rushed to the back of a bus. Black people really didn't vote until Obama came. And now that we know what we're dealing with in this high position, someone who makes fun of disabled, someone who, assaults women, someone who doesn't want to give immigrants a chance where our country was founded on equality for all. Someone who doesn't stand up for the Constitution, someone who's just blatantly disrespectful, disregarding our Constitution. And that's something I will advise people who don't believe me, just read the Constitution, read the amendments, the Bill of Rights, whatever. This is like the vote of our lives. I really thought when he was running against Hillary, that wasn't, no. Right now, this is the vote of our lives. It's serious. And even if it's like apple and oranges, if you don't like apples and oranges, this is your choices. You got to vote. You got to. Got to make a change. Know that you're a part of history and you stood for something. You helped change something.
100%. One vote can make a difference. Your voice does in fact matter. a lot of the ways in which we were talking about last week when I had Dana Balter on the show was just how loud your voice can be in a local situation, right? When we're talking about things like school board or city council or county legislature, sometimes those races can be so very close that it does come down to a matter of votes. So what do you say to our viewers and listeners who may be unengaged, who may be people of color, and don't necessarily feel compelled in the ways that we do to be engaged?
I want to answer that question and tie it back to when we're talking about social media. I know, like in the entertainment field, a lot of people that I speak to are privately keep their opinions, which people have the right to. Some people feel like they won't get gigs if they talk about politics. People think they'll be blacklisted if they talk about politics. I'm sure it could be like that in the business field as well, or any field that you're in, that you may not want to publicly speak of it because you feel you are not going to elevate, or people are going to look at you different, or you're going to lose friends or lose colleagues and stuff like that. I would say, that is your right if you don't want to publicly speak about it or be engaged. And actually, I need to check myself, because there's people who actually have told me that, I need to die down from publicly talking about politics. I'm not going to get opportunities. And in hindsight, I look like F that. Like, do y'all know who my mama is? My mama didn't hold her voice for nobody.
Right.
And I'm walking in big footsteps to fill. So just brace. I'm coming back talking vocally, because we are approaching a very historical moment.
Yeah.
And all hands on deck.
No, I definitely agree. We're coming off of the heels of Black History Month. We talked about being 365 blackness, and that, our skin color doesn't change on account of the month, right?
Okay.
And so to begin to drive home the point that we are Black history, and we're making history right now, and you, the viewers and listeners, are in fact part of this Black excellence and this Black history, to which I've built a platform around. I hope that, you are engaged, educated, and empowered by what it is that we bring to you here at the Uprising. I have gotten quite a bit of the same kind of commentary about needing to scale it back and not being so vocal, not being so political, or constantly having a response to what I'm seeing and encountering every day. I was raised by a strong woman also, who taught me to have an opinion and taught me to express my opinion, and really showed me how to value my opinion, whether or not others valued what it was that I was saying. So we come to you live every Tuesday night at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on www.straightindieradio.com and now 97.1 FM in Waterloo, Iowa.
And you also got to think about it. Some people, they say, don't kneel for the flag, that's disrespectful. But y'all don't want us to exercise freedom of speech? Like, pick a battle. You know what I'm saying? So, and what's for us will be for us. If we are vocal and that opportunity don't come, it wasn't meant for us. People who gonna love us no matter what we think, even if we disagree. If someone wants to vote for Trump and they're my friend and I don't, I'm still gonna love you.
Right.
We have different views. If you're my friend and you don't even care about politics, that's okay. I can't beg you or put a gun in your head and make you and be engaged. All I can do is inform you and try to get you involved. And that's something, a lot of people are really losing friends. People are really beefing over different points of view.
Well, I wanted to talk about that a little bit, because I've watched some of that beef that you're talking about take place, and I've watched friends fall apart over this conversation. Lo and behold, as I said, I was raised by a strong woman who voted for that president after I drove her to the polls. But
you love her still,
I still love her. So one of the things that boggles me is how dramatic the responses are, and how completely polar opposite some folks can be when it comes to discussing the issues. I want to move away from the national election and focus in a little bit here at home, here in New York and in central New York, the argument is very similar, but it revolves around John Katko, who I've had the privilege of sitting and discussing plenty of things with, as have you. And one of the things that you and I had discussed previously was my reaction to you having sat and spoke to John Katko, who I had allowed outside forces really to construct an opinion of him for me without having had the opportunity. And what I found to be very interesting, and you had said this before we went on the air, was that once I actually sat down and had a conversation with him, I liked the guy. And so I found myself very conflicted with, I'm not supposed to like this guy. But then I got to thinking more broadly that, granted, a lot of our values and standards are very different, but I've been able to take a step back and look at the larger picture and begin to understand why his set of values is as it is. Do I agree with it? No.
Right.
But I wanted to talk about how do we move away from a space where it becomes so volatile and negative or so polarized that friends start falling out or family members even, don't mention anything about politics at a holiday dinner.
Yep.
Easter's right around the corner. Do not discuss politics, right?
Right.
We've been trained to think that way. So why do you think this gets people's emotions so stirring to a level where, people fall out?
And it's a human feeling. Everyone wants their opinion to be right. Everyone wants to be heard. And what they say goes, and they're not trying to hear nothing else about it. Whoever they want to vote for, especially our local elections. Yes, I had the honor to sit on a panel with Kako, and I wouldn't say I don't like him. Like, I disagree with some of his views. He has helped my family monumentously. Will he have my vote? I'm not going to say. I'll leave it there. But it's definitely important to vote for these Congress people because they are our lawmakers in our regional districts that matter, that makes the laws for us. So definitely be informed on all the candidates that's running.
Yeah.
Hi, Dana.
Yeah, shout out to Dana Walter. Shout out to Dana Walter, who was our guest on the Uprising last week. Be on the lookout next week, Tuesday, the 17th, when we welcome Roger Miso. He's also a candidate. And hopefully, as I mentioned earlier, hopefully we can get all of the candidates. I would love to bring John Katko onto this platform so that folks can be able to hear some of the more sensitive and intimate things that he said to me when I visited him in Washington, D.C.
I just want a congressperson who's going to stand up for me, stand up for women's rights, stand up for, equality, diversity, and economically back us. Really, really back us. That is for us.
Representation matters. With all of that being said, and since you did, that's a great segue, since you referenced the color of our skin, you spoke a lot about wanting to dismantle racism, and I applaud you for those efforts. I feel like you, as you mentioned, do have some pretty big shoes to fill, and with that being said, I'll kind of segue into this part. I wanted to speak a little bit about your mom, who has inspired so many, and so I'll read a little piece of her obituary. Donna Reese, loving wife, mother, sister, grandmother, friend, community leader, 58 years old, passed away peacefully surrounded by her family on January 31st, 2020. Donna Reese was a disability rights and civil rights advocate, a longtime community activist, and Syracuse icon. She is a member of the Central Board of Directors, the first African American who is also blind, to hold this position. She's a native Syracusan, married to Dwayne Reese for over 30 years, and together for 45. That's impressive. And they've together raised 3 children, one of which sits to my side. Donna was also the president of the NAACP, and your mom has had such tremendous influence on the way Syracuse began to address some of our challenges and some of our barriers for decades. Your mom was definitely one of those people that was under-recognized and overutilized, but she did everything that she did from her heart, which I was so blessed to be able to come into contact with her and meet her for the very first time during that show, Survivors. I said earlier, she spoke something into my life, and because of that, I felt it appropriate that as Masking and Company and the Uprising and Straight Independent Radio begin to venture out and expand our brands and expand our reach and our platforms, one of the things that's near and dear to me is making sure that young people are able, especially young people of color, are able to afford to go to college. And while I am not some rich philanthropist who has thousands or millions of dollars to make sure that they go to college, one of the ways that I'm able to support young people while they're at school is helping with the amenities, helping with groceries, helping with making sure that they have the supplies and resources that they need. With all of that being said, with a discussion with my 2 young partners, my 2 young kings, we discussed what is the best way to go about this and doing it in a way where I'm not constantly giving, and we decided to create a scholarship. So, with that being said, we would like to present to you Masking and Company's Legend and Legacy 2020. Do not start crying. In honor and appreciation of your dedication, leadership, service, and community engagement, we present this on behalf of Miss Donna Reese by Joshua King, CEO, Masking and Company, this the 10th day of March 2020. And while it's not much, we've included a check to get this scholarship started. And we'd like to ask you, the viewers and listeners, to contribute to this scholarship fund to make sure that young people are able to handle their expenses while they're away at school.
Wow.
So I was very inspired to do this, and I'd like to present this to you on behalf of your late mother.
That is so beautiful. I know she is a heaven smiling down. Oh my life. Oh my life.
So what will happen now is obviously off air. We will sit down and discuss what this looks like, and the scholarship, the Legend and Legacy 2020 for this year is the lovely and late Donna Reese.
Thank you so much. This means so much. And I can't wait to share this with my family. Just behalf of myself and my whole family, the community, so many people near and far, just reaching out, praying for my family, of my beloved mother. So many individuals, including yourself, has wanted to honor her in so many different ways, and her legacy lives. She accomplished so much. She lived her life with purpose. God needed her more. She would never be forgotten. I know she was a Syracuse icon. To me, she was just mom.
Yeah.
And Donna Reese lives forever. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
This is just so beautiful. This is so beautiful.
You're welcome. And we'll have to shave it down so it can fit in the beautiful frame that goes with it. So with all of that being said, more or less I felt like this gesture needed to take place during this time and this place. For those of you who are watching, if you are interested in contributing to this scholarship fund, you can reach out to me at maskingandcompany@gmail.com or send me an inbox message and I will let you know how to get the funds to the account that will be established in honor of Miss Donna Reese and the Legend and Legacy Scholarship Fund. So I'm very humbled and honored to be able to
I'm
present
speechless.
it to you.
I am so speechless. I am so speechless.
And anybody who watched the Survivors episode on Visionary Minds, Tammy got me to crying. That was not my target for you today.
I'm up here holding back tears. I don't want to.
That wasn't my goal, but my goal, as I said, is to make sure that young people do have what they need while they're away at college.
And it's so important because those young ones in high school or in college, about to enter college or leave college, that want to go into advocacy work, especially, I definitely commend them. My mother commended the youth because, like, she loved Josh. She thought he was a huge pillar of community, which he is, and she always said how he had a profound legacy ahead of him. And even though my mother and so many other people like Helen and Miss Sharon and the list goes on, Mr. Cliff, so many people started the forefront, and so many people in your generation and after us that is coming, following our footsteps, that's going to need this help. And I just thank you, Masking and Company, to start this. I think this is monumental. This is epic. It's epic, and you never know who life this is going to touch.
And I'm glad that you said it that way, because I was very touched by your mom and the words that she spoke. You mentioned the word legacy that obviously became a part of this. And I'm very attuned with what's happening around me, although I seem a little out of sorts sometimes. I'm taking it all in, and I took in a lot from your mom. And so I'm, again, honored, humbled, and glad that I'm able to start this off. And I hope that you, the viewers and listeners, will also be compelled to contribute and help us figure out what are the parameters for this scholarship fund that we will give away this spring and send some young person off to college with what they need in order to get through.
Yes.
It wasn't that long
youth is
ago
our
for
future.
me. 100%.
Yes. They are our future.
100%. So we are running a little short on time, and I want to be able to have an opportunity to catch up with Tammy Reese off camera. So you can catch me live again next week, Tuesday, the 17th, when I will sit down with Roger Miso, who's running for Congress of the New York 24th Congressional District. Ladies and gentlemen, Tammy Reese, thank you so much for coming on my show. Oh, and a kiss attached. I'm Unapologetically Josh, and this is The Uprising. Join us next Tuesday when I sit down with Roger Miso on www.straightindyradio.com and 97.1 FM in Waterloo, Iowa. Thank you, and